Welcome back to Juggernauts and Jabronis. Last week I called it Juggernaut versus Jabronis, but they're not really going up against each other. This is just the Jags Week in Review. So I am Jefferson Alonzo Green, the J to the H to the G, and I am your new correspondent for Heel Turn Wrestling. And this week, the Jag is going to cover 4 things. I just poked myself in the eye. That was cool. 4 things. Those 4 things are Juggernaut of the Week, Jabroni of the Week, Promo of the Week, and Spot of the Week. So those 4, this week, the Jag is going to cover 4 things. That is Juggernaut of the Week, Jabroni of the Week, Promo of the Week, and Spot of the Week. So let's jump right into this week's recap. Number 1, the Juggernaut of the Week is Mr. Dan Moff. Moff. I think it's Moff, M-A-F-F, and if not, Moff sounds cooler like Grand Moff Tarkin or Moff Gideon if you're watching The Mandalorian. Anyway, Dan Moff is a big, strong, intimidating looking mofo. The Jag had never seen him wrestle before. However, I did watch GCW's Jimmy All the Way this past week. I believe it was on the 26th, and I got to see Dan Moff versus Jimmy Lloyd himself in a tough, brutal, highly entertaining match where the unstoppable Dan Moff was just beating the stuffing out of Jimmy Lloyd for most of those parts. Jimmy Lloyd made a good showing of himself. Homeboy's a lot more agile than I thought with some kicks, some high-risk maneuvers, a lot of light on his feet moves. Jimmy Lloyd moves a lot better and a lot faster than someone his size probably should, so kudos to Mr. Lloyd. However, Dan Moff is not to be trifled with. This man put Jimmy Lloyd a burning hammer, not 1, but 2. The first one on the mat, the second one through a door. Dan Moff is my Juggernaut of the Week. I believe he signed with Ring of Honor, I think it is. So he is not going to be on the Indies anymore, at least not for a while. He will be working with Ring of Honor, doing some big things there. I'm excited for him and this new horizon for Mr. Dan Moff. But checking him out at GCW's Jimmy All the Way, he looked fantastic, and he is the Jags Juggernaut of the Week. Now, for your Jabroni of the Week, I've got to talk about one person who I've never even seen this man wrestle. I don't know much about him. If you know about Make Me a Fan, you know the Jag is a former WWE homer. I am a WWE faithful. However, the Encyclopedia Pete Traris is trying to show me the world and show me life outside of the E, so I will eventually get to this man, but he's on my list for a very different reason than his prowess in the ring. The man I'm talking about is g-raver. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. Perhaps it's Graver, but it's G-raver. G-raver is a moron. He is a mouth-breathing idiot, and I say that because he is taking on Mr. Jim Cornette. Now, G-Raver, send me all the hate mail you want, but I'm going to educate the people on why this is a really bad idea. First of all, love him or hate him, Jim Cornette is a successful icon in this business, and the man has probably made more money than Mr. G-Raver has in his wallet. I'm also willing to bet that Jim Cornette has better attorneys and better lawyers on retainer or on staff or at his disposal than Mr. G-Raver. So when Cornette went to G-Raver and said, stop producing a t-shirt with my face on it because they've got some history, Cornette said some things about G-Raver. G-Raver made a shirt that said F Cornette, or F Jim Cornette. And of course, Jim Cornette, knowing this guy is out there selling merch with his face on it, got his lawyers on the job and told the lawyers, cease and desist. This man did not. He continued to sell t-shirts, and now Jim Cornette is suing him. He's suing him for whatever money Mr. G-Raver has. However, as if that's not bad enough, Mr. G-Raver decides he's not going to stop selling t-shirts. In fact, he makes a new Jim Cornette t-shirt, and he is now selling that one. So,
Kingston jaw and face plant.
Damn. I mean, really? You messed up, you got in trouble, but instead of saying, hey, I learned my lesson, you decide to double down on your stupidity. Now, Mr. G-Raver, I don't know who you are. Feel free to bring all the hate you want to @AKA The Jag on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. However, I will say this, Jim Cornette's lawyers are going to have a lot of fun with you. And I say that because, well, I don't know if they have any money or what they can take from you, but they're probably going to take a lot because not only did you change or you take this man's likeness and make money off of his likeness, now you've decided to knowingly do it again. You, sir, are the Jabroni of the Week. And I can't wait. Well, I'm not wishing anything bad on you, but it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out because Jim Cornette is probably going to win this one. Yeah, he's definitely going to win this one. That brings us to our promo of the week. The Jags promo of the week has to go to the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Michael Nakazawa. They have their show Wrestlers on the Road, ordering room service. I had to read that because I got Nakazawa's name wrong the last time. But Michael Nakazawa, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Wrestlers on the Road, ordering room service. They had a fantastic show. Now, this wasn't a traditional promo. In fact, it was more of an interview between the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega talking about their final days at New Japan. In this interview, they talked about how New Japan reacted when they were leaving to do AEW. They talked about some of the different things that happened with Bullet Club, and it was a really eye-opening, fantastic, and entertaining watch. What I mean by that is the Jag learned something about the Young Bucks and about Kenny Omega, and I really got to kind of experience their personalities. I'd never really seen Being the Elite. I never really watched that stuff. I just know that these guys are the ones that do all the flippity-dippity, and of course, they're the head honchos at AEW. I've got no beef with the Young Bucks. I got no problem with Kenny Omega. I think Kenny Omega is fantastic. The very first episode of Make Me a Fan was Make Me a Fan of Kenny Omega. However, hearing their story and how they were kind of disrespected and mistreated by New Japan when they decided they were going to go ahead and move forward with this that they were going to go ahead and move forward with AEW really kind of made me feel sorry for these guys. And I don't think that was their motivation. I think their motivation was to educate and explain some of the things that happened in the past, but they made me a believer. They made me a fan of them as people. Now, I watched some wrestling matches with the Young Bucks, and some were good, some were not so good. I watch AEW almost every week, and some of the stuff I see is not really my cup of tea, but these people as individuals are pretty awesome. I would have a beer with these guys, or I don't know, a Coke and a smile, a handshake and a hug, whatever. The Jag likes them as people. I think it was a pretty cool interview. Therefore, I think it was a pretty decent promo. Now, perhaps promo isn't the right word because it was more of an interview or more of a feature show. So the Jag is going to give you a co-promo of the week. This promo of the week goes out to Mr. Joey Janela. Because it was a simulcast between GCW and Beyond, Joey had some time to kill in between matches. And so they gave him a microphone and a Bud Light. They put him in the ring. And he just talked trash for 3 or 4, maybe 5 minutes. He actually had a couple really funny bits where he called out a guy in the audience for wearing a Bootio sweatshirt and a couple other things that I think was pretty entertaining. Now, if you've ever, like the Jag has, had to stall or cover time in front of a live audience, it's not an easy task. Now, it's kind of easy for me because I'm the Jag. It was pretty easy for Joey Janela as well, but he was killing it. He did pretty well. He was entertaining, he was engaging, and finally we got to see the Dickinson versus RSP match. So that was pretty cool. But in the process of killing that time, Joey Janela did a hell of a promo. He talked a little bit of trash. He made people laugh. He gave us some insight. It was pretty cool. And now for the Jags spot of the week. This one is also from GCW, Jimmy All the Way. This was Matthew Justice versus Alley Cat in this, first one to die loses match. I don't know what to call it. But anyway, they had a pretty back and forth hardcore match with doors and all kinds of craziness. But the spot of the week was when Matthew Justice dragged her butt all the way up the stairs to the balcony, at which point he hit a Death Valley driver off the balcony onto the floor. Now, it wasn't really the floor. There were some people down there to help catch her and soften the blow because we don't really want Alley Cat to die. However, this was the Jags' first time seeing Alley Cat in the ring. Saw Matthew Justice at GCW in LA. He was fantastic there. He was fantastic again in this one, and he has the Jag spot of the week for this Death Valley driver off the balcony onto the floor below the floor. But it was entertaining. It was fantastic. So the Jag thinks that was probably one of the best spots of the week. That is my best spot of the week because I thought it was pretty entertaining. And before I ever watched Jimmy All the Way, I saw this spot being recapped and re-shown all over social media. So that's gonna do it for this week in review. That's gonna do it for Juggernauts and Jabronis. This is the Jags Week in Review for Heel Turn Wrestling. You'll also see this cross-posted over at Make Me a Fan. Be sure to follow Heel Turn Wrestling right here on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and be sure to follow Make Me a Fan on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Make Me a Fan 316. You can always follow the Jag personally at AKA the Jag on every social media platform, and I will see you next week. Don't be a jabroni. See you next week.